You read it right. What can I say? After a year and a half, our Stay Fresh freeze dryer finally broke. We're going to go in the other room real quick, take a peek at what's wrong with it, and then see if we can fix it. Let's go.
What we're looking at is the on-off switch. Notice how it's in the on position right now. When we try to turn it off, we can't. It seems to be locked or stuck in the on position.
18 months of use, probably using it in ways that we shouldn't, overloading it to test the ice holding capacity. And the thing that breaks on it is the on-off switch. That's a Stay Fresh freeze dryer for you, folks. I'll tell you right now, these things are built incredibly well. Ask anyone who's got a Stay Fresh freeze dryer, they'll tell you the exact same thing. But obviously, little component broke. We had a little situation right there. It wouldn't switch. So I reached out to Stay Fresh. Now, for those of you who have PTSD because of your experience with perhaps another major brand of freeze dryers, you might enjoy this particular interaction. I know we shared our customer service experience dealing with a different company, and it was a very costly nightmare. Well, this one wasn't so costly. I got on the phone with Stay Fresh. The gentleman who answered the phone, his name was Tim, and he is the owner of Stay Fresh. So you're immediately talking to the boss, the main guy. He's not only the owner, but he's the engineer who designed the Stay Fresh. So you're talking to the guy who built the machine. He's got all the answers. And I explained to him very quickly what was going on. I hadn't taken my machine apart. I just said, hey, I can't flip it off. It's on the on position all the time. And he said, not a problem. Sounds like you might have had a little wire burnout on you. Let me go ahead and send you. This all took place within less than 90 seconds, 120 seconds. He said, let me send you a replacement switch along with some connectors. Make sure we have the correct address on file. And that was it. A couple days later, this showed up at my doorstep. Let's get into it. I haven't opened it up yet. I feel like working with the other major brand of freeze dryers has kind of turned me into a freeze drying mechanic of sorts. We've literally taken freeze dryers apart and completely rebuilt them. So I don't feel like this is going to be a problem. Let's see what he sent me.
I've always said that the measure of a company's worth really comes down to how they handle situations like this. And Stay Fresh is clearly on top of their game. We've got our switch with 4 connectors, and we now need to take our unit apart. So let's remove the vacuum line. And with the Stay Fresh freeze dryer, the side panels can be removed without having to remove the top or the back. So in this case, we're removing the left panel, and we just unscrewed all the screws that were connecting it. And I noticed that my condenser coils are a little dirty. So I'm going to take this little air blower and clean them up a bit. If you have a brush, you could just very gently brush it clean. Up and down motion. Okay, so the part that's screwed up is the on-off switch. That's the top part right here, and we need to go ahead and just push it out. So there's a piece of silicone right at the top and at the bottom that securely fastens it so there's no wiggle room. And at this point, we're just going to press the clips on either side so that we can push it out on the other side. And that comes out pretty easy. There is silicone that's protecting the connectors from any moisture. We're going to remove that. And it looks like we have 4 different wires that connect to this plug. And what I want to do before I begin is just snap a couple pictures just so that I get the orientation of those cables right when we reassemble it. And there's our problem. It looks like the N11 plug got a little overheated, burned up a bit. And the one next to it, the N, looks like it has a little char mark as well. Could have been from the heat generated from N11. Either way, we're going to change that. Let's push the wires back into the machine so we can work with them a little bit easier. All right, here we go. Now, what I want to do here is just relabel, and I'm going to be cutting where the label is currently, and I don't want to mix this up in the event that we have to do something in the future. So I've got a label maker, so I just reprinted the label for all 4, and we are going to just identify that, just put the label a little bit higher up on the wire. And now that all 4 are labeled, we can begin the repair process. So I'm going to take some wire cutters and just cut this wire right at the crimp. There's a little crimp right there on that blue connector. And we're going to cut it right there so that we can expose the wire. And then with the wire stripper, I'm going to just open it up. I don't want to open it up too much. This looks about right, 1/2 inch, give or take. And I'm going to take the new connector that I got, slide it right on in. There we go. Looks great. It looks like that wire has come all the way through the other end. Take a little peek. Perfect. All right, so with the crimper part of this tool, we're just going to crimp that like before. And that's going to securely fasten the connector to the wire. Let's go ahead and do the other one, and I'll show you how to finish. That's perfect. Now the other two wires, no damage done. There's no burning or melting of the wires at all. So we're not going to replace those, but if they were, we would go ahead and replace them. So let's push the wires back through the hole, and we're going to connect it now to the plug. We've got the reds on top, whites on the bottom. The picture certainly came in handy. At this point, we're just going to push it back into the machine, making sure that it clips in pretty easy. Nice and secure. It's in the on position currently. Let's click it off. I'm going to reapply that silicone like it had before. And I talked to Tim over at Stay Fresh, and he told me that applying silicone was something they do at the factory, but if you don't happen to have any, it's totally okay if you don't do it. Now, you could remove this back panel if you're having a hard time accessing that plug and if you want to add silicone, but I will say that removing the back panel is a little bit trickier. You have to remove the top panel, and then there's a couple screws with a nut and washer that connect the back panel to the frame, and then of course you have to remove the 3 bottom screws, at which point the back panel comes off, and as you see here, it does give you more access. But in my opinion, I don't think it's necessary. I was able to do it without removing the back panel, and technically, since applying silicone is optional, it's not really necessary. So we're going to screw the panels back on. That's all we need to do to reassemble the machine. Wait 24 hours for the silicone to cure, and then switch it on and see what happens. All right, very good. So our on-off switch has been repaired.
That was so easy to fix. Took pictures of the wires so we didn't mix them up. If you have wire strippers and a crimper, you could do the job yourself. If not, this is a very easy and probably inexpensive job for any electrician to do. I remember the last time we had to fix a freeze dryer. I think the process took like 9 months. Anyway, let me know if you have any questions about this particular fix. If you want any information on the Stay Fresh freeze dryer, it's an absolute beast. The one that we fixed today was the standard. We also have the Mega. I'll put a link and a discount code in the description box below. Their customer service is on point, as you saw in today's video. Those of you who might have another brand and are experiencing problems, you know what, we can relate. I know what you're going through. And it's a breath of fresh air to deal with a company that puts customers first. Wow. Credible model, right? All right, guys, let me know if you have any questions. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to this channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. Stay tuned because we've got some very interesting freeze-dried videos on the horizon. I'm going to try to upload one a week, possibly on Friday. We'll see how that works out. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.